Headline news most affecting Chilliwack this week. The Chilliwack School Board and CUPE come to a tentative agreement. BCTF rejects the mediator's settlement plan. City Council approving the Vedder, Promontory, Prest design build project. And it's got to be Christmas with the tree lighting ceremony scheduled for November 28th. Thanks for watching. We're committed to providing local news and news that impacts our local audiences from Harrison to Garrison, Greendale to Hope, and everywhere in between, including Fairfield Island, Little Mountain, Promontory, the Eastern Hillsides, Chilliwack Mountain, Yarrow, and Cultus Lake. In addition to news, sports, and weather, this week we have an interview with Dan McAuliffe of Chilliwack Search and Rescue and Bob Gemmell of the Rotary Club of Chilliwack, and that's in our Rotary Corner segment. All right, Chilliwack, let's get started. Chilliwack School Board and CUPE Local 411, who represent support workers, went to the mediator on November 5th and 6th. So on the 7th, they came out with a tentative agreement. Now, this still has to be ratified by the union, the Board of Education, and the BC Public School Employers Association. This falls into line with other agreements in other school districts, as well as their support workers. CUPE Local 411 representing over 900 unionized school district employees, including education assistants, custodians, clerical staff, maintenance, and trades. Meanwhile, the BC Teachers Federation rejecting the mediator's settlement plan. All's not lost. BCTF President Terry Mooring says the BCTF remains committed to getting a negotiated settlement, and the Teachers Federation is seeking more dates to talk with the employer. It is apparent that a full shutdown is not what either side wants. The main sticking point is the direct link to the teacher shortage in BC and low wages on the table. A 6% increase over 3 years, as well as over $25.5 million set aside for service improvements, cultural leave for Aboriginal teachers, and that's among other things. Build it, and they will come. And they will also appreciate a little less traffic gridlock. Last week, Chilliwack City Council accepted the proposal for the Vedder Promontory Prest design build project. Total cost of the multi-layered project comes to $15 million, and it should be ready by 2021. This is actually 4 projects wrapped into one bundle and therefore one cost outlay. Chilliwack Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Business Improvement Association, the Chilliwack Chiefs, and the City of Chilliwack have once again hosted and will host Light Up Downtown. So head down to Salish Park Thursday, November 28th, 5 o'clock for the light displays, the choirs, hot chocolate, food trucks, the train rides, and the lighting of the Christmas tree. Oh yeah, and Santa. Bring any non-perishable food item to Salish Park, and you can receive a voucher good for a free adult Chiefs ticket with the purchase of a kid's ticket for that night's game against Powell River. The Stalo Business Association will be hosting the Stalo Business Awards ceremony in 2020 on February the 15th at the Quality Hotel and Conference Center. The Master of Ceremonies will be Carol Ann Hilton, an MBA who is the CEO and founder of the Indigenomics Institute. Carol Ann is recognized as a First Nations business leader with an international master's degree in business management from the University of Hertfordshire in England. Nominations must be made by this Friday through the online link at the Stalo website. Selfless is a documentary that opens the conversation to the question, are we harming ourselves with our selfies? Having said that, this is not an anti-technology film, rather a reflection about our devices and how we can help our kids grow strong and healthy in this new age. A bright, beautiful film that brings forward the question, what are we reaching for? The documentary from Fresh Independence Productions, based in Mission, opens the conversation to the ever-growing epidemic with selfies, social media, and technology, with a professional panel discussion to follow. Now, the screening will be at the Matsqui Centennial Auditorium, 7:30, Saturday, November the 16th. Back in the summer, chillTV told you about the Cities Fit for Children Summit. It will be hosted by the City of Chilliwack. It will highlight the important links between planning and health and showcase ways to support, build, and natural environments to be places where kids and youth can thrive. Now, if you want to be a presenter, you do have to apply online. The summit is hosted by BC Healthy Communities, the Chilliwack Children and Youth Committee, Chilliwack Healthier Communities, and the City of Chilliwack itself. The Chilliwack Kettle Kickoff Concert for 2019 is Sunday, November 17th at 3 o'clock. This at the Salvation Army Church on Brooks Avenue. The concert will feature Steve Elliott, Gospel Brass, and the Salvation Army Kids Choir. Now, tickets are free and are available at the church office. Come prepared to make a donation to the Kettle campaign. Salvation Army Christmas hamper applications are also now being taken. That's at the Salvation Army. You do have to apply in person, and the office is now at the old Progress building on Spadina, across from the downtown Save-On Foods. You've no doubt heard the names on this news show, read about it in the paper, or heard on radio about the rash of senior disappearances over the last several months. chillTV spoke with Chilliwack Search and Rescue on this urgent issue. And now this week, we're going to have Berris Karden have an interview with Don McAuliffe of Chilliwack Search and Rescue. He's part of that team. And this is in hopes of shedding a little bit of light on what is actually happening. Berris?
Thanks, Don. And we are very fortunate today to have Don McAuliffe, who is with Chilliwack Search and Rescue, and you're a search manager.
That's correct.
Right. Welcome to the show. You've been with, I understand, quite a long time with Search and Rescue.
Oh, 41 years now.
Wow. Wow. That's an amazing, thank you for your contribution. Amazing career and a lot of experience. Maybe you can help us shed some light, because we've been reporting this on chillTV now for a number of months. Disappearances that seem to be happening more frequently with the seniors. Can you shed a little bit of light on what's going on?
I'm not sure if it's more frequent or not. I think with the advent of so much social media, and plus this year we've had 3 calls which didn't turn out well, which is unusual. We might get 1 every 2 years. So I think that, plus with social media being as big as it is now, I think it appears to be more than there is. In the background, I think the RCMP get quite a few calls.
Right.
And that's resolved within the first couple hours. They're found close by and that. So it's not uncommon, it's just we don't hear about it because it's settled quickly with a positive result.
So you're saying, or what I'm understanding that you're saying is that maybe it's just being reported a little bit more now than the past, but this has kind of always been at this sort of level?
I can't say for sure on that,
yeah,
but I believe so. Just talking with the RCMP during our very first search this year, you know, they had already had 3 other calls similar. Yeah. Which were resolved fairly quickly.
So, and I know we want to respect the family's privacy here, but on some of the more recent calls, are you able to comment on any particulars on any of those cases?
Not a lot on that. Other than both cases, I would say by the time we got called, the missing person was already in trouble, and you know, there wasn't a lot that we could have done, or it's hard to say on some of that, but on one of them for sure, I feel that, you know, it was too late by the time we got there.
Well, and then sort of maybe peeling that back, sort of in general, how long is it before a person is reported missing to the police before you're going to get the call, or how long is it generally before a person is reported missing, or a senior?
I don't think there's any hard and, you know, like I can't say for sure because we don't get called a lot of the times because it's resolved so quickly. Yeah. But I would say, you know, 2 hours is not uncommon before they call us. Right. And on one of the ones, the first one we had with Grace this year, there was a 6-hour delay before the RCMP got called.
And so what happens there? Like there's a 6-hour delay, and I guess not getting into that one particularly, but is it that someone goes missing and then during the day the family may be looking for them, and then as it gets dark?
I think in all these cases, you know, with the dementia patients, This happens quite often. They wander away, the family or friends find them right away. So it's usually, they're used to, hey, you know, oh, they've just gone out here, they find them quickly, and so they're used to doing that, and then after a while, they look themselves first, and then by the day they call the RCMP, and by the time they respond, get the details, check into it, and then call us, there's a couple hours delay in there.
Okay, so let's say all of that happens, and then they're not found. and then now you get contacted and you and your team are involved. Sort of what are the steps that your team then take? What are the next steps?
Well, our initial call, we get the basic information about the call.
Yeah.
We put out a page for our members to respond to the call. And then from there, we get our command vehicle. And
how many members do you have that would respond typically?
Typically, we usually start out with 6, 7, 8, and we have 40 plus members, so we can get quite a few. But typically, it starts out slowly. It depends on the time of the day.
Yeah.
Too. That's the biggest thing. If it's 2:30 in the afternoon, everybody's at work, and that it takes a while before we get people.
So everybody's volunteers.
Everybody's volunteers, so they're leaving their family or they're leaving their jobs. They're coming out to do this. So it takes a little while. I would say on one of the most recent ones on up on Teske there, we were up, but we were called approximately 2 hours after the person had gone missing initially.
And was it getting dark already in that case, or?
There was still some light there, but that was the biggest problem. Was very quickly after we got there, it was dark.
Okay, so as much as you can share. So the call goes out, and you get your crew, and let's say it's a wooded area. What steps?
Okay, so like for example, the Teske one. Initially, we got the call. We found out some information. He likes to hike the trails. He likes a few of that. So before we even went up there, we had already sent a couple people up to go do the Mount Tom Trail, because that was one he was known to have done.
Right.
And when we got up there, we started a search of the local trails there. We ran into people who had sighted him. We got that information. That led us to the Bridlewood Trail, which goes down off the hill into the river. And so we had people going down there fairly quickly. And then from there, as the night progressed, you start to get, with so many people out, we had lots of people up there. It's a fairly dense population up there. Lots of people know each other, so there was lots of people coming out to offer help.
So, and that one did not have a good outcome.
Did not have a good outcome.
And so, you have to forgive me, because as a layperson in all of this, I've got sort of questions. I know there's technology that is sometimes used. There's heat-seeking cameras and things like that. What sort of things do you have at your disposal? How easy is that? And how effective is that? What are the problems, if any?
That night, there was a bit of a problem with the RCMP getting their FLIR up. However, they did.
Sorry, what's it called?
FLIR forward-looking infrared.
Okay.
They have a camera mounted on. They did come out the following morning, and they discovered quickly that with the forest canopy, that they really can't do much.
So the
it's
forest
great for down
canopy
in
is
the
too
valley
thick.
floor here,
Right.
where you've got open fields and that, and somebody might be in the middle of a field or somewhere. It's great. They can pick up the heat signatures right away. In the forest canopy, it's really difficult.
So you're using that technology, but in our environment where it's thick foliage.
Yeah, we have
not gonna
lots
work.
of environment around here with a lot of trees and that, and it's not that effective.
Okay. In terms of maybe what I guess prevention is the number one thing here. What sort of tips could you give the audience in terms of how we can avoid this in the first place, or how to best manage a situation should it arise?
I think one of the big things would be, if you have a loved one that has dementia, try and get a picture of them, a recent picture. Every 6 months, take a picture, have that ready to go. Don't delay in calling. Even if you've gone out, and in all these cases, the people have gone missing before, they were found, fairly quickly. And so they're used to just, to go look around, and they're close by and they find them. Don't delay, call the RCMP right away, get everything started, and if you find them, great. We don't mind getting stood down, the RCMP don't mind, and it makes a big difference if we can get out there in daylight, and if we can get there before they've traveled a long distance.
Yeah. Well, Dan, thank you so much for shedding a little bit of light on this very serious subject. We really appreciate everything that you and your team do. Thanks for being on the show. And to Chilliwack Search and Rescue, thank you very much. And thank you.
You're welcome.
'Tis the season for hockey teams to gear up for the holidays and organize teddy bear tosses. Stuffies are then given to less fortunate kids in the Fraser Valley. Now, for the Chilliwack Chiefs, their teddy bear toss is December 13th at the Chilliwack Coliseum, where the Chiefs take on the Langley Rivermen. The Abbotsford Pilots will take on the Langley Trappers November 22nd, that game at MSA Arena. And for the Pilots, that'll be their 20th anniversary of the teddy bear toss. CSCL Hockey Alumni Series continues. The Chilliwack Society for Community Living will once again welcome the Toronto Maple Leafs Alumni Tour. That game at the Chilliwack Coliseum Saturday, February 22nd, and the puck drop at 7. The Leafs will play a group of local hockey players, the Chilliwackers, in a game consisting of 3 15-minute periods. That's if they can last that long. All proceeds go to CSCL to help support adults with developmental disabilities and kids and youth with special needs. The U Sports all-rookie soccer teams were announced, and Trinity Western and UFV placing players on the squad. Trinity's Jake Ruby and UFV's Jermode Callan made the men's team. On Saturday afternoon, the Chilliwack Giants faced the Meadow Ridge Knights for the Valley Community Football League Championship. And in a back-and-forth game, the G-men opened up the score with a rushing touchdown from running back Yapo Conte, but then the Knights answered back for a 6-6 score at the end of the first. The second quarter wasn't that favorable for the Giants as the Knights put up 2 more touchdowns. And then that, of course, being up 20-12 at half. Then the Giants came out at halftime and had something to prove, putting up 2 touchdowns in the third quarter, 4 more in the fourth quarter. The Giants win 54-35. And congratulations to the home team.
Well, welcome back, and welcome to our Rotary Corner, Bob Gemmell, who is your Director of Community Service for the Rotary Club of Chilliwack. Correct. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we're here to talk about something very specific that's happening this weekend. What's happening, Bob?
The grand opening of the Rotary Loop Trail.
Wow. That is something that I've heard about, mysteriously going to be happening. I mean, the trail is wonderful. I do it with my dog every morning, take a walk up the trail. Maybe if you could explain what exactly does looping of the trail mean?
Well, everybody knows about the north side of the river.
That's the one I always go on.
Which has been in existence for quite some time.
What's on the south side? I just thought, I thought there were bogs on the south side.
There is. It's been under development now for quite a few years with a real focus, especially the last year or 2.
So there's actually a trail on the south side?
As of this Friday, it'll be complete.
Well, that's fantastic. Now that sounds like a large undertaking. Who was involved in making all this happen?
The city of Chilliwack, obviously the key people in the whole
Very important to the equation, yeah.
Supported and with a very strong partnership with the Rotary Club of Chilliwack over the last 25 years or so.
So, and how long has that partnership been on? I mean, the partnership with the city goes way back on a number of different things, events, the Rotary Christmas Parade, which is coming up. But how long has this been in development then? How many years?
Well, it became a focus about 8 years ago, I would say.
Okay.
It's probably been in the minds of many people, city and Rotary, for 25 or more years. A lot of people have probably thought, well, let's just put a loop around the river.
Well, it makes sense.
It does for cyclists, runners, walkers, the overall fitness of Chilliwack.
Wonderful for the citizens of Chilliwack, and wonderful even in terms of travel, tourism, things like that. Yeah. In terms of the actual physical layout of this loop, I presume on the east you're going to have the Vedder Bridge, the brand new Vedder Bridge. What about you going down on the north side? How far are you going down?
You travel down, you leave, say the Vedder Bridge is the starting point, and most people are familiar with the north side. Mm-hmm. It's been completed for some time now. Mm-hmm. You go up onto the dike to Keith Wilson.
Oh my gosh.
That's the end of this loop.
That's huge. Like how many kilometers is that?
It's about 11 to 12 kilometers.
Not just on the one side.
Just on the one side, just getting to Keith Wilson. So then it's now developed so you can go under the bridge without crossing Keith Wilson.
Okay.
And come up and go across the pedestrian bridge, under again to the dike on the other side, and go back.
So the whole thing is over 20 kilometers. Fantastic.
The whole thing pretty well equals a half marathon distance, which is 21.1 kilometers.
Wow, that's significant. So for cyclists and for long distance runners, beautiful. I was always under the understanding that there would be a shorter distance. The looping was going to happen a little bit earlier, like I think around the railway bridge. Is that?
That was an original hope and goal. It's been put back now for probably another 2 to 3 years. That's still going to happen sometime.
That's not that far off.
It's going to involve a bridge somewhere near the train bridge that will end up being a shorter loop. So we'll end up effectively having a figure 8. You could have the option of doing a shorter loop, longer loop.
Yeah, no, lots of flexibility. That's, again, very good for the residents of the city. So now this Saturday and Sunday, I understand there's events happening both days. What actually is happening on Saturday?
Saturday is the official grand opening, basically put on by the city.
And can people get involved with that?
It's open to the public. There'll be short speeches commemorating the opening of the south side and the actual loop.
Okay. Where is that happening if people want to go?
It's happening at the end of Giesbrecht Road, so the river, right close to the river by the Vedder River campground, starting at 12:30.
12:30. Sounds like lunchtime. Any food?
There'll be Smokies.
Smokies.
Yeah, it's right near the Brown Creek wetlands. People are familiar with that.
Okay.
And the trail has been improved right through the campground too, so it's available.
An exciting event for the city, something that is historic. Bring the family down on Saturday and have lunch and watch the opening, and bring your bikes, I guess, and you can tour around.
Yeah, provided the weather's great, you can do whatever, run from there.
Well, I'm not telling you how to bring your bike, so you can walk too.
The speeches, there'll be a few speeches, they won't be long, but it'll be a fun grand opening. Very
good. And so that's on Saturday. Something happening on Sunday as well?
Sunday, there's actually going to be the full, since it is about a half marathon distance exactly, there's going to be a half marathon trail race.
I can imagine in the future that you're going to be able to do like there'll be like the Chilliwack half marathon event. I can imagine that that's something that's going to.
That's basically what this is a forerunner of.
Wow.
And it'll go on year after year, I'm sure.
That is very cool. So if you want to run, you just show up, or do you register, or what happens?
Registration is open right now on peaksandvalleys.ca.
Peaks in Valleys?
Yes.
We'll have it on our Facebook page, peaksandvalleys.ca.
All together. And that's open till Friday night, 11:59 p.m.
Okay.
And it's open, by the way, there's a 10-kilometer for short
Is there a cost to register for that?
Yes, there is. It's road races in general. Always have
okay, so it'll all be on the website.
All the information is on the website, including maps of the actual routes of the 21K and the 10K.
Wonderful. Well, Bob, I want to thank you for being on Rotary Corner, and thank you for sharing with us what's happening. Thanks to Rotary for making this happen.
Thanks, Berris.
And now we're going to take it to Don with the weather.
chillTV weather, wet and mild for the next couple of days. Highs around 10, but the overnight lows are bearable at 8. At least it's not snowing. And we say hi to our friends in Ontario. We'd like to thank our very special guest this week, Dan McAuliffe of Chilliwack Search and Rescue, in his interview with Berris Karden, and Bob Gemmell in our special Rotary Corner. If you'd like to share the spotlight, even if you've never been on camera before, send us a note to news@chilltv.ca with your CV, and if you haven't, links to your video. And if there's something in Chilliwack in the Eastern Fraser Valley you feel we should be reporting on, again, send us an email, the same address, news@chilltv.ca. That's the news this week. I'm Don Lehn.